Hello and welcome back to a new lecture on syntax. So now that we know what co-indexation is, we know what ccommand is, and we know what binding is, we can go back and look at the three principles of binding theory. There are three principles. One is called principle A, and principle B, and principle C. Principle A deals with anaphors. Principle B deals with pronouns, and principle C is concerned with our expressions. So let's see what principle A has to say. Principle A of the binding theory suggests that an anaphor must be bound. Principle B, the one concerned with pronouns, suggests that a pronoun must be free. Now these principles are not in their final state. We're going to have to modify them a bit. But let's test them out. Principle A suggests that an anaphor must be bound, and principle B suggests that pronouns must be free. Free is the opposite of bound. That means that nothing binds a pronoun. So let's look at the first one. Principle A. Take the sentence, John hit himself. Let's give this one an I and this NP an I. Is this sentence grammatical? Yes, it sounds like a really good sentence. So then this NP binds this NP because they are co-indexed, and this NP C-commands this one. So far so good. But what if we change it up just a bit? Now instead we want to have John's mother hit himself. This sentence of course is ungrammatical for several reasons. Now let's focus on the reason we know. First off, since himself is masculine, we want a masculine antecedent. John's mother is feminine. John is the only thing here that's masculine. But John alone cannot C-command himself. Even if we do co-index himself with John by himself, the problem is that John cannot C-command himself. So we got the first half of binding, but we're missing the second half, which is C-command. Therefore, John cannot bind the anaphor himself. Well, fine. What if we change it up a bit and say that we want to have this be K and have it refer to something that can C-command it, which is John's mother. Great, but now you have a gender mismatch. John's mother is feminine and himself is masculine. So in the first place, we cannot even give them the same index. This is wrong. So now to sum up, the idea is that himself is not bound, meaning nothing binds it. If you recall, principle A suggests that an anaphor must be bound. Our anaphor here is not bound, and therefore the result is an ungrammatical sentence. So it looks like our principle A is on the right track so far. Let's look at principle B. Now principle B suggests that a pronoun must be free. That means that nothing should bind a pronoun. In this sentence, John hates him. Him is a pronoun. That means it should follow principle B. That means it should be free. But there's only one interpretation that we can get in this sentence. Him here must not be John. Him could refer to Bob, but it cannot refer to John. Why is that? Well, let's try it. If him here was given an index I, and so was John, well then now they're co-indexed, and at the same time John can C-command him, therefore him would be bound. In this meaning, the sentence is ungrammatical. But if instead John was given I, and him was given the index K, let's say to mean Bob, who is K. Now the sentence all of a sudden is grammatical, and that is because him is not bound by John. Why is that? Well, John does C-command him, but there is no co-indexation. These are different. This is a K and this is an I. Therefore, no binding. Therefore, it's free. And so in this case, the sentence is grammatical under this given meaning. Great, so now it looks like principle A and principle B seem to be on the right track. Or are they? Let's look at some cases where principle A and principle B might need to be defined a little bit more precisely. Let's start off with principle A. John danced with himself. If you recall, principle A suggests that himself, or an anaphor, must be bound. Well, we can easily co-index John with himself, and John clearly C-commands himself. Therefore, it is bound, the anaphor is bound, and therefore the sentence is grammatical. Now, how about this? John said that Mary danced with himself. This is clearly an ungrammatical sentence. But why? Have we violated any principles? Well, we have an anaphor here, so we should be going by principle A. Principle A again suggests that the anaphor must be bound. So let's try. Let's give this an index I and this an index I. Great. Does John C-command himself? Of course it does. Try drawing out the tree for yourself and see that it does. So then himself is bound. But why is it still ungrammatical? Now pronouns seem to have the same problem. Pronouns, of course, relate to principle B of the binding theory. Take these examples. Now in the first example, where Mary and her are not co-indexed, so when we say Mary hit her, we mean that Mary hit some other girl, say Sally, okay? This sentence is grammatical. And we know why already, because the pronoun, we said, must be free. It's free because it's not bound, and it's not bound even though Mary C-commands her, because the second criteria is not fulfilled. There is no co-indexation. Mary's I and hers K. Therefore it's free, and therefore principle B is fine. But now let's look at Mary hit her, where there is co-indexation and there is C-command. Therefore her is bound. And we said that the pronoun should not be bound. Under this meaning, the sentence should be grammatical, and yes, it actually is grammatical. But how about this sentence? Mary said that she danced. Let's give Mary I, and she the same index I. Again, she is a pronoun. It should be free, not bound. Now the first criteria of being bound is already fulfilled. There's co-indexation. But not only that, Mary C-commands she. Therefore, she, or the pronoun, is bound. But principle B states that a pronoun must be free. And what's even more surprising is that the sentence is not ungrammatical. It's actually a good sentence. The question now is why? Why is it that this pronoun violates principle B but is still grammatical? The sentence is still grammatical. That means our principle A and principle B are likely missing something. What they're missing is something called the binding domain. That's going to be our topic for the next lecture. See you there.